It's been a while since the streets of Kyiv ran red with blood. Those words come from one of the commentators we'll be looking at today, here on the Press Review. We're staying with reaction to the clashes which took place on Monday outside Parliament in the Ukrainian capital, and which led to the deaths of 3 National Guardsmen. We begin with The Economist, which reminds us that the unrest is a sign of 2 problems Ukraine is facing: a growing far right and a growing number of disaffected fighters returning from the conflict in East Ukraine with Russian-backed militants. The protesters outside Parliament gathered under the banners of Svoboda, an ultra-nationalist party that backed the Maidan revolution but has been marginalized since. But the man who threw the grenade is said to be a soldier from one of Ukraine's volunteer battalions, a harrowing reminder of the problems posed by Ukraine's growing number of traumatized war veterans. The clashes were sparked by a vote inside Parliament in favor of constitutional changes, which could see more autonomy given to regions of East Ukraine under occupation by Russian-backed militants. The motion is not yet law and will still need a second reading. But it has already split the ruling coalition of President Poroshenko and seems unlikely to gain the 300-vote supermajority it needs to pass. The Economist warns against MPs breaking ties. The newspaper writes, Ukrainian politicians have rarely acted responsibly in the past. Shifting alliances and switching sides is common, but doing so while under attack from Russia puts the Ukrainian state at existential risk. We turn now to James Miller, writing in The Daily Beast. He also focuses on the far right and its role in the clashes and the wider political situation in Ukraine. He says that the violence on Monday is the realization of tensions that have been mounting for months in Ukraine. Relying on ultra-nationalists, even in part, has proved a devil's bargain for Kyiv. The uncomfortable reality is that far-right volunteer battalions expect political and economic rewards for their service to the country. Miller ends with a pertinent question. What does the unrest that erupted on Monday mean for the future of Ukraine? Well, no one can say exactly. He writes, one thing is clear though. It's been a while since the streets of Kyiv ran red with blood, and Kyiv is the center for all that moves in Ukraine. Whether the violence pulls the country together, as it did 18 months ago, or tears it apart, will likely be determined before winter arrives. So, clashes this week appear to be something of a warning for Ukraine. The constitutional changes on more autonomy for eastern regions are due to come up for vote again in December. We'll have to hope that the government will do more to convince all parties that the changes are the right ones and that we won't see a repeat of Monday's violence. That's all we have time for today. Join us again tomorrow for another press review. In Kyiv, this is Ukraine Today.